In the ongoing lecture series on plant tissue culture, and in the previous couple of lectures I have discussed about the historical development of plant tissue culture as an important scientific technique. We also discussed that how a mere small observation led to development of full-fledged research technique, which is nowadays exploited for various purposes in order to grow certain plants with genetic modifications, in order to enhance the secondary metabolite production, in order to conserve certain species, and so on and so forth. So friends, in continuation with the previous lectures, today I am going to discuss about the general requirements to set up a plant tissue culture laboratory. Now before we move on to the requirements, first I would like to discuss about certain ideal characters or features of a plant tissue culture laboratory which one has to keep in mind while setting up a PTC laboratory. The laboratory should always be located away from the city, specifically the highways, in order to reduce the vehicular vibration or any kind of pollution that originated from the vehicles. Because we know that plant tissue culture is a technique where high degree of sterility is required in order to maintain the culture. So any kind of pollution from air can hamper the growth of the cultures, can damage the cultures. The laboratory should always be located away from the fields, obviously for the reasons to avoid pollution, because the fields are a good source of insects which can creep into the plant tissue culture laboratory and may cause contamination. Further, it has been found that during harvesting season, lot of threshers are being used to harvest the crops, and because of those threshers, large amount of dust is originated from the field, and this again the dust can act as a source of contamination for plant tissue culture laboratory, and therefore PTC laboratory should always be located away from the fields. The laboratory should have well protected from rains and winds, because rains will bring water and moisture, and this moisture can act as a source of contamination, because this moisture will lead to the growth of bacteria or fungus on the walls or in the laboratory and may contaminate the cultures. And winds obviously will bring dust or pollens along with them, which again can cause contamination issues in the culture. Laboratory should have proper thermal insulation, because the plant tissue cultures are maintained under artificial light and temperature conditions. The temperature conditions have a very enormous impact on the overall growth of the culture. Therefore, proper temperature conditions have to be maintained where cultures are stored. Therefore, these laboratories should have proper thermal insulation, that is, if a low temperature is maintained inside the culture area, the heat should not be lost, and vice versa also, if a low temperature is maintained, the room should not absorb the external heat to increase the temperature. So thermal insulation is another important character of PTC laboratory. These laboratories should have a well marked clean areas. When I say clean area, it means the areas where transfer of explant is done onto the media, and where the culture medias or the growth cultures are stored. So these rooms should be marked separately, and they should be marked as the clean areas. These areas should not be thorough areas where free movement of personnel is there, because we know that we have to maintain the sterility in those areas, and any kind of free movement in those areas will lead to contamination. Therefore, these clean areas should be well demarcated, and the movement should always be prohibited in these areas. Then plant tissue culture laboratory should have sufficient electricity supply and backup. As I discussed that the culture areas or where the transferring is occurring, they have to be maintained at specified temperature and humidity conditions, and also light conditions. So proper electricity supplied should be there in the plant tissue culture laboratory. The inverters of appropriate strength should be installed. generators should be installed in order to supply a constant electricity without any voltage fluctuation. The laboratory should have source of good quality water, because this water is largely used in washing purposes or in the preparation of media. So the laboratory should be well equipped with the RO purifiers, water purifiers or deionizers in order to get a good quality water which can be used for preparation of media and other purposes. Laboratory should also have a proper arrangement of disposal of wastewater and other waste material that is originated during the tissue culture experiments, because this wastewater can be a source of contamination. Therefore, laboratory should have proper arrangement for its disposal. Laboratory should be spacious enough for proper movement of sterile and non-sterile material. As I told you that certain areas should be demarcated, and the free movement in those areas should be prohibited, but that should not hamper the movement of other material within the laboratory complex, because as we move further into the lecture, we will see that plant tissue culture laboratory is not mere a room, but it is a sort of complex which involves different kinds of rooms, which require different kinds of room for different purposes. So the laboratory should be spacious enough so that if any kind of movement of apparatus, of media, or anything which is required in the laboratory has to be moved from one place to other, it can be moved without any problem. There should be a separate washing and storage areas for different glassware or plasticware. It is always advisable, as we will discuss further in detail, that washing area should be separated from the other areas of the plant tissue culture laboratory. There should be a separate area for sterilization, preparation and storage of the nutrient media, because nutrient media is something which is the heart of the plant tissue culture laboratory, wherein the explant material is grown. So proper preparation of the media is the first requirement. Its sterilization and proper storage should be there. There should not be any source of contamination in such areas. There should be a separate area where aseptic manipulation of the plant material can be done. When we say aseptic manipulation, it means preparation of the explant material, transferring of the explant material onto the culture media, and so on and so forth. The cultures that are maintained under controlled conditions of temperature, light and humidity, such areas should also be separate from other areas, because you have to have a proper temperature conditions, you have to have proper light conditions of specific intensity, you have to have specified amount of humidity in the culture media or in the culture room where the cultures are stored, and therefore such areas should be separate. The laboratory should also have a separate area for documentation and storing the documents. We know that whenever we are performing any kind of experiment, lot of documentation has to be done. Every observation, every growth period has to be documented into the logs, and therefore in order to revive those documents at certain period of time, there should be a separate area where all those documents can be stored. Now, if we summarize all these requirements for a plant tissue culture laboratory, or rather I will say a plant tissue culture complex, we require certain rooms, and we can have washing room, sterilization or autoclaving room, then media preparation room, sterile transfer room where the explant is transferred onto the media, then culture or growth room where the cultures are stored, then instrument room for analysis, record keeping and documentation room, and the greenhouse where the plantlets that have been grown onto the culture, they can be grown in the greenhouse area. Now we will discuss each and requirement for each and every room in detail. So coming on to the washing room. Now as we discussed that washing room should be separate from every other room, and this room should have a supply of good quality water, preferably deionized water, double distilled water or RO water purifier should be installed in the washing room. The sinks that are being used in the washing room should be resistant toward any kind of acid or alkali treatment, because many a times we wash our glassware with chromic acid or any other suitable acid, so the sink should be resistant towards those chemicals. We should have sufficient number as well as size of buckets or tubs wherein you can put all your dirty glassware and you can wash the glassware properly without any breakage. If possible, we can also install dishwashers in the washing room. By and large, these dishwashers are preferred or are installed in the commercial scale laboratories. Then good quality water, we have already discussed that deionizers or ROs or distillation units should be installed, and one of the most important parameter for good quality water is its conductivity. And it has been found that water with a conductivity range of 5 to 15 microohms is suitable for any kind of plant tissue culture requirement. Along with these requirements, washing room should also have drying equipment, because after washing the glassware or plasticware you have to dry it. So for proper drying, hot air ovens or dryers should be there which work at a suitable temperature, which do not damage the plasticware. So appropriate requirement, appropriate dryers should be installed as per the requirement. Second is the sterilizing or the autoclaving room. Now, if you have space constraints, then the washing and the sterilizing room can be combined, but there should be a small artificial partition between the washing area and the sterilizing area. And in the sterilizing room, we should have sufficient number of autoclaves with appropriate capacity. Apart from autoclaves, you can also have IR sterilizers, glass bead sterilizers and gas sterilizers as per your requirement. Nowadays, automated autoclaves are there wherein you can feed the time limit, you can feed the pressure or temperature limits, and they get switch off after the specified period of time, so that if you are autoclaving any plasticware, they are not exposed to the elevated temperature and pressure conditions for longer durations. Third room in the plant tissue culture laboratory complex is the media room, wherein the culture media on which the explant is transferred or the explant material is allowed to grow is prepared. Now, as you can see in this picture, this media room is equipped with different types of balances. It should have sufficient amount of racks and drawers in order to store the chemicals or the reagents that are required to prepare the media. The media room should have working benches which have laminated or granite tops, because if you have a porous working top or the bench top in the media room, that porous top can act as a source of contamination. It can lead to the accumulation of dust, it can lead to the accumulation of microbes, which can eventually cause the contamination into the media. Moreover, these working benches should be at an appropriate height. So, if a person of a shorter height also wants to work in those media rooms, he or she can work appropriately or properly. As I told you that media room should have sufficient amount of cupboards, drawers in order to store the chemicals, reagents or glassware, whatever it is required, because for preparing media you require conical flask of appropriate size, you require different glass cylinders, measuring cylinders to measure the specified amount of the media or the water. You require certain micropipettes in order to prepare certain stock solutions of vitamins or growth regulators or amino acids. So, depending upon your requirement, you should have sufficient space to store your equipment. Then, since we have to weigh the minute amounts of amino acids or growth regulators or any kind of salt for inorganic material, we require certain amount of balances. So, the media room should always be equipped with fine balances having a minimum weighing capacity of 0.01 gram. Along with balances, the media room should always be equipped with magnetic stirrers or other stirrers in order to mix the contents of the media properly. You should also have hot plates or filtering assemblies or vacuum pumps in the media room in order to prepare the stock solution, because certain vitamins, certain growth regulators which are susceptible towards degradation when they are heated, for such you require certain filtering sterilization units. So you should have all such kind of assemblies in your media room to prepare the required contents. Last but not the least, the media room should also have sterilizers, ovens, autoclaves and pH meters in order to maintain the pH of the culture media. Once you have prepared the media is then shifted into the transfer room, wherein the explant material is shifted onto the culture media. Now this transfer room requires high degree of cleanliness in order to avoid any kind of contamination. I will again go back, I have discussed that such areas should be demarcated as a clean area in this complex. Now these transfer rooms should always be equipped with transfer hoods which can be easily sterilized. Preferably these transfer hoods should have laminar flow fitted with the HEPA filters. It has also been found that overhead UV lights also provide sufficient amount of sterility in these transfer hoods or the transfer room. Transfer room should always have a positive pressure within the enclosed area. So whenever the door is opened, the air flows outside the room, not the outer air flows inside the room. So therefore positive pressure is always has to be maintained in the transfer hood. So as I discussed that the laminar or the transfer hood should always be fitted with HEPA filters having a pore size of 0.3 micrometer, which prevents any kind of microbial contamination onto the media. Again, the surfaces that are used to prepare the transfer hoods should be designed in such a manner that no dust or microorganism accumulate onto the surface. Again, I will emphasize that porous surfaces should always be avoided while preparing the working benches in the media preparation room or in the transfer room. Preferably the surfaces or the working benches should have a surface without any joint, because these joints also act as a source of contamination. They also act as a source of dust and microorganism deposition. Now we move on to the culture or the growth room, where the cultures or when the explant material is transferred onto the culture media, and then these cultures are stored in a specified room which is equipped with artificial lighting conditions, which are equipped with proper temperature sensor, or sufficient equipment is there which maintains the required temperature and humidity conditions in those rooms. Again, the cleanliness in growth rooms is of utmost importance. Along with it is the positive air pressure. As we discussed in the transfer room, there should be a positive air pressure in the growth room as well. So whenever a person opens the door of the growth room, the air should always flow outside the growth room and not inside the growth room. It is always preferable to install an air curtain at the entry of the growth room or the culture room, so that if there is any kind of dust on to the personnel who is entering the room, gets dislodged by the high pressure air from the air curtain. Now these growth rooms preferably should have one door, and windows should always be avoided in the growth room, because these windows can act as a source of light, outside light, which can interfere with the light and dark cycle of the culture which is being stored in the growth room. So in order to avoid such kind of light interferences by the natural light coming from the windows, it is always advisable to avoid any kind of windows in the growth room. Further, these windows can also act as a source of contamination. Though if the window is present, one should ensure that window is airtight and proper measures are being taken that no light interference come through the window. The junction walls in the growth room should always be rounded, because these rounded walls or the rounded angles of the walls prevent any kind of dust accumulation. They also avoid accumulation, prevent the accumulation of any kind of microorganisms. They should be painted with a high gloss or a semi gloss paints, because again these paints can be easily cleaned, and they also prevent the accumulation of the dust as well as the microorganisms. Now, since the cultures are stored in the growth room, the temperature conditions have to be maintained. So, one has to take care that there are these rooms should not have any kind of temperature fluctuations. The temperature, whatever temperature is maintained in the growth room should be constant throughout the room. There should be no hot and cold spots in the growth room, because such areas can such hot and cold areas can affect the growth of the cultures, and one can get mixed results. Say for example, if a plant required cold temperatures and the growth room has certain hot areas, in those hot areas the growth will be stunted, and in cold areas growth will be proper. So, results will be improper. So, therefore, such temperature fluctuation and hot and cold spots should always be avoided. Modern laboratories are equipped with alarm systems. So, if there is any fluctuation in the temperature beyond the prescribed limits, the alarm goes off. So, immediately the personnel who are working in the laboratory, they come to know that something is wrong with their cooling system or the heating system. So, such malfunctionings can always be taken care of. Proper lighting conditions are also required in the growth or the transfer room, and it has been found that the light intensity of 3000 to 5000 lux is sufficient for the proper growth of the cultures. Cool white fluorescent light is always advisable to be installed within the racks that are being placed in the growth room, and every shelf should have its own source of light. A good laboratory has all these lamps. They are attached to an electronic blast system. Now, electronic blast system is nothing but it's a small device that is attached to the series of the circuit, which prevents any kind of fluctuation in the intensity of the light. So, such kind of system will always provide you a constant flow of light intensity that is required for the proper growth of the culture. A good laboratory should also have a programmable 24-hour period light and temperature cycle. As I told you that in commercial units, there are alarm systems that are set up which regularly monitor the temperature conditions of the laboratory. Likewise, certain sensors are available which can be installed in the laboratory, which monitor the light conditions of the laboratory. Furthermore, you can also set up the time limit with those sensors, that after a specified period of time, the lights will automatically switch off or they will automatically switch on. So, such conditions can always help you in maintaining the desirable conditions which are required for the proper growth of the culture. Apart from temperature and light conditions, humidity is another factor that is important for the proper growth of the cultures. Humidifiers are required if the humidity falls below 50%, and dehumidifiers are required if humidity is beyond the prescribed limits. Appropriate size of racks are to be installed in the growth room, as we discussed that every rack should have a separate its own light source. As you can see in the picture as well, every shelf of the rack has its own light source. It is always preferable to have racks that can be moved from one place to other, but if it is not possible, you can always install stationary shelves onto the walls of the growth room. so that you can easily store your cultures properly. Next we have is the instrument and the record room. Now once you have grown your cultures properly, you require certain analytical equipment to analyze your samples. You want to analyze the content of the secondary metabolites in your cultures, you have to have HPLC, you have to have HPLC equipped with MS or any other suitable analytical equipment. This instrument room should also be equipped with growth measuring instruments, wherein you can measure the vegetative growth of the culture. Not to mention, these rooms should also be equipped with microscopes and liquid nitrogen freezers for cryopreservation of the samples. Record room should have computers which are equipped with required softwares nowadays which are installed in the laboratories like TC-Track, IVS or LinQ. All these softwares will help in tracking your samples. They provide specific barcodes for each sample wherein any sample can be tracked over a period of time. So such kind of equipment, such kind of facilities should be there in a plant tissue culture laboratory if you want to set up at a commercial level or at a laboratory scale. Thank you.